This is my 12-month review of the Red Sea 3-in-1 ATO. It is a great product, but there is a but. So let's dive straight in. The app is actually really easy to use. It keeps you, I think, closer to your tank. So what I mean by that is, from the home page at a glance, you can see what's happening in the tank. And also, if you drill down, you can see where the water level is and is it between the 2 points. So it's actually running as it should be. You get alerts, you can see what's happening in terms of temperature, and also if there's a problem with the leak detector. What I would say first of all is, when you first set it up, you dial in how much you're using. So you put in there about, how long is the pipe work that you're using on the tank, and also how high is the ATO in relation to the tank. So you've got the pipe work there in red, follows all the way down the back of the tank and then into the cabinet. What you actually put into the app is the length of pipe that you used and also how high up it is. What I have found is it's taking about 3 or 4 refills to work out how much is being used and then adjust what you put into the app. And it helps that I've put that's at 10 litres there and it goes up to 15 litres. What I've also done is I usually fill it to there, which is 15, but I always put into the app 14 litres. The reason being, whilst you do get an alert, I find if I'm a little bit slow at topping it up, at least I know I've got another litre there. It also tells you how much you use on a daily basis. And whilst that is quite useful, it's not really a need to have, unless of course you're using calc, because then you can work out how much RO you're using, and then those calc to that similar level. And sometimes I know it's a bit of an issue for people dialing in their tank for calc. Let's move on to the second feature, and that's really the temperature. Now, it's not a temperature controller, it's a temperature monitor. And what I mean by that is, if your temperature is say at 26 degrees and you want to control it at 25, it won't actually turn off your heater. If you want to do that, then you have something like the DD controller, like I've got there, that's running at 25 degrees. But what it does do is, if your tank is running at say 26 degrees, you'll get an alert. So you put a high and a low, and if it falls outside of those parameters, then you get an alert. What I have found is there's a slight discrepancy. So there's the DD probe there, and there you can see at the back of the tank, just there is where the probe sits. Now, what happens is the water comes in here. So what I do find is when the water comes in there, is that when it's pumping water in, the temperature can go down slightly. And likewise, the heater I've got is there. So it's quite, you can see the top of it. So there's sometimes a discrepancy because this area here may be warmer or cooler than the overall tank based on if the heater's on or if water's being pumped in. Not a problem, because I don't rely on it for that. But if it's out by ½ degree, that's no big deal as far as I'm concerned. If you do find that, say for example, your auto top off has run dry, then actually that will go below the level. I mean, you should get an alert anyway because the water level is too low. But also, if it's too low, then the temperature will go down. So that's really, really helpful. And so therefore, I think it's a cheaper version of, say, of an Apex. Whilst the features of an Apex are far more sophisticated than this, it does help you stay tuned to the temperature of your tank. And then last but not least, you have got the leak detector there. Now, whilst you think that might be a nice to have, and I must admit I didn't buy it for that reason, it has actually gone off before. So what happened was, this skimmer overflowed and the water went down the back there, down the back of the cabinet, and then just a small pool of water on the floor. Now, I've got to say, when it went off, I was panicking, what's going on? It looked like a massive leak, but it wasn't. So I soon was able to trace it back to here. Now, if that had carried on, I would have got a wet floor, potentially puddles ruin the floor, and also it might have run dry as well, because as that skimmer is overflowing, ATO is going into there, which basically means you're taking the salinity down, so who knows what would have happened. So it's definitely worth it. So I think in terms of features, It is a really good product and has probably more features than any other ATO that's on the market. And all of that is a major plus. Now, one thing I wasn't able to cover in my initial review is the reliability. Now, afraid to say I've had an issue. So what happened was I had a loss of connectivity. It also said the heat sensor, there was a problem with that, and then it stopped working. So that was just under 12 months. I emailed Red Sea on the Friday explaining the issue that I had. And within a couple of hours I had a response asking me to try a couple of things. I tried those couple of things and it still didn't work. So I emailed them back and they came back to me again. That was on the Saturday morning and asked me to try a couple more things. So I tried a couple more processes they asked me to do, but it still didn't work. So I went back to them and within a couple of hours they came back on the Saturday and said that they would replace the sensor. And then on the Tuesday I got a new sensor in the post, I fitted it and everything is fine now. What is really interesting is that on the packaging for the sensor that came through, it says V2. So that, maybe a coincidence. Is that the second version of the pump because they know there might have been an issue with it? I don't know, but it does beg the question, should you buy a first generation of any product in the market when it maybe not have been tested as much as it should have been? It might have been in beta testing, but for a limited number. Should you let others tread that path first, and then you buy the product whilst it's been in the market for maybe 12 months, and they would have evolved based on feedback? I leave that decision down to you. But what I can say is, I think Red Sea are to be commended for their after-sales service. I reported it on the Friday, I got a new product on the Tuesday, which is basically 2 working days. And I think a test of a company is not just the products, but if something goes wrong, how do they deal with that and do they put that right? And I think in this case, the answer is yes, they put it right and they've done it in a really as quick as they possibly can. However, it doesn't take away from the fact I spent almost £200 on a product and it broke within the first 12 months. But would I recommend this product? I think the answer is yes. I love the features. It does something that I don't believe any other ATO does on the market. The service was great, albeit the reliability is poor. And would I buy this again? And the answer is yes. On another tank, and I needed an ATO, I would buy this one. Well, that's the review. If you like this video, then please give it a thumbs up. And why not subscribe to the channel and maybe see other videos as they're released. But for now, thanks for watching.